Some time passed. Otterberg and the account inform us that Shay is going after the assassin expedition. You know, Sean did actually more than these guys, right? Sean, besides informing the player on historical events, gave the player also advice during the Subject 16 puzzles. Violet and Otterberg, on the other hand, though, only inform you what time it is today inside the Animus.
Shay must be in Paris.
How much time has passed?
A few months, I think. That virus is cutting off our access to complete memories. The Royal Palace at Versailles, Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette in residence. We're in the Atlantic again.
Violet is just being bitch against you, and she has all the right if we were technically the cause of everything. But she said it wasn't technically my fault. Even when you help her, she still calls you numbskull. You know, Desmond Miles had all the rights to be a jerk in the modern day segments in Assassin's Creed 1. You might not like it, but it made sense narrative-wise. Desmond is kidnapped by a secret organization that puts him inside a strange machine. If he resists, they send him into a coma.
Once we have it, you'll be free to go.
I am not going back in there.
Then we'll induce a coma and continue our work. When we're done, you'll be left to die.
Your job is to prevent things like this. Technically, you're not responsible for this, but you're the one who let the virus out. So I think it's only fair you help me clean it up.
Truth be told, the only reason you're still conscious is because this approach saves us time.
You're insane.
So what is it, Mr. Miles? Live or die?
Violet is just a bitch for the sake of being a bitch. And Otterberg wants to spam assassin Gmail boxes full with Assassin's Creed Rogue. Yeah, I will get to that, don't worry. Shay decides to refill his ship stocks and we meet James Cook again.
Now the talented Captain Cook was here. We have a word.
At your service, as always.
I'm looking for a man. Captain Louis-Joseph Gauthier, Chevalier de la Vérendrye.
He sailed east a few days ago on a heading to Anticosti.
Indeed.
And if Shay needs more help, he will be at Conception Bay. Shay goes back to the Morrigan and travels overseas to his new destination. Gist and Shay talk to one another about what happened in New York. Shay is still emotionally affected by Hope's death. Gist tries to assure him he did the right thing and had no choice. Shay has still doubts and says that it was his choice to join the Templars and kill Hope. Gist replies with that Reed, aka the Templars, are happy that he joined them, and if he did not, then he might be murdered by Haytham. Now that the whole conversation about New York is brought up, I forgot to mention one thing about the authorities versus the criminals in New York in my previous video. One other reason why the conflict fell flat on its nose is they only needed to stop Hope from activating the box, in which they failed to do so, of course. The thing is that they could have killed Hope and take care of her network later. The order how it happens here doesn't really matter. Her death doesn't affect New York that much. If the events went like kill Hope and then unleash hell in New York, it will change not a single damn thing. You could try to argue with Shay's emotional state, but why not make Haytham raise hell with Jack in New York? Let them trigger the conflict between Hope's men and the authorities. Or just let Gist and Jack take care of the network. Shay and Haytham just go after Achilles and the others just stay behind in New York to take care of Hope's network. Or better, just remove the whole conflict entirely, it's filler. Do you get what I mean? The canonical order how the story happens doesn't matter here. Shay says that half of the Brotherhood is dead. Wait, what do you mean half of the Brotherhood is dead? How many assassins worked for Achilles? We defeated Adewale and his crew. We attacked Hope's network. We killed maybe more than 100 people aligned with the Brotherhood, and more if we count the events in the open world. So how many people work exactly for Achilles? So if we use calculations here, and I hope that I paid enough attention to the dialogue, Hope had more than 100 men working for her. So does that mean Achilles had more than 200 people working under him? Whoa, so Achilles has an entire army under his control? And the Templars in this game not? It's almost like they switched the roles. Anyway, after some mission, Shay gets his hands on a map that says where Chevalier is located. Maybe next time, assassins, burn it. But it's encrypted, so Shay goes back to Captain James Cook for help.
Found de la Vérendrye's travel plans. But the devil used some kind of code. I can't figure it out. Maybe you'll have better luck.
How strange. It is a very old cipher. I have seen it once before. I could draw you a map.
Or you could accompany me. Help me find de la Vérendrye.
An urgent matter, then. Very well. We shall sail together again.
Chevalier has the information that will lead us to Achilles and Liam. And we have found our villain, people. Game even tries to persuade us to believe that Chevrolet will kill anyone who comes here because it's a secret expedition. But Shay, have you forgotten that captains have looking glasses to look at ships from far distances? But you can try to counter my argument by saying that Chevrolet mortified the homestead. I do like to point out that I like the idea of searching for Chevrolet in the fog, hide in plain sight. This does fit the Assassin's Creed and can inspire great fear in the player. The Templars were most of the times on high alert because they didn't know if they were being followed. The citizens feel safe, but the Templars not. They are on high alert and might get a little bit paranoid.
Or perhaps they do not know you because you are not a man of God, but an assassin!
So this is a good combination between storytelling and gameplay once again. It's so good, in fact, I'm 100% certain this was done on accident. The writers have shown too many times that they don't care about the assassins hiding in plain sight. The best with the mission was the one where Shay was poisoned. This forced the player to hunt down Hope. This combined the gameplay and narrative in an interesting, compelling way. But the mission also stood out a lot more because it was surrounded by a lot of bad writing. After a heavy fight, we can board Chevrolet's ship here. I do personally advise everyone to fight Chevrolet in open combat instead of jumping down on him, killing him instantly. Chevrolet calls out to Shay that he lost his touch. He is arrogant and doubts that Shay can kill him in a fight. He also says that he practices aim. This is foreshadowing to the scene where Liam reveals that Chevrolet shot him in the back and not him back at the homestead. Often battles in movies, comic books and video games are better if there's dialogue involved with it. Two good examples of this in the Assassin's Creed franchise will be the battle between Ezio Auditore and Cesare Borgia in the end of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. You learn during the fight that Cesare has his eyes set on all of Italia and more. The dialogue fits the surrounding and storytelling, but not only that, you and Ezio Auditore both want to take Cesare down. Chains cannot hold him, you both know that. And now he's back destroying his city and revealing his plan to dominate all of Italia, Spain and etc. This will undo everything you and Ezio achieved throughout the events of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. The second example would be Connor Kenway versus Haytham Kenway. It reveals more information on their goals and mindsets. Haytham wants to create a monarchy with Charles Lee in charge. He says that we should be controlled because mankind was built to serve the first civilization. Plus, this will stop conflict and create peace. A bad example of this in the Assassin's Creed franchise will be the end fight against Germain in Assassin's Creed Unity. Arno Dorian was unnecessary. If you remove Arno from the fight, most of the dialogue will be exactly the same. Except the Morning Elise part, but honestly the ending was forced to be sad. It's unfortunate that we don't have more fights like we have seen in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood and in Assassin's Creed 3. After defeating Chevrolet, we enter a memory corridor with him. I do admit that I personally enjoyed killing Chevrolet here for disrespecting me and Shay, but I can't say that I hate him because Shay was lazy, remember? He deserved that punch in the face if you ask me in the opening for a shitty joke. And Shay does kind of deserve all the pain that he's going through right now because of a communication error. So I personally can't really hate Chevrolet here.
You bastard! Achilles and Liam have already headed north!
Hope was right.
Him holding on to the maps sort of makes sense with his arrogance that he can beat Shay. But even so, why can't he just not remember? Tell Shay, I will never tell you where Achilles is. And then he jumps into the water. He rather kills himself than give Shay the information. But we can't do that or else the story will stop right here. Another thing I like to point out here is that Chevrolet
Distraction.
is filler. Removing this conflict will not change anything in the story. Shay could have killed him back in New York and obtained the information there, and would still be able to sail to Achilles' location. The writers could still let Shay encounter Achilles in the temple without changing much of the dialogue. Chevrolet is just making the story here unnecessarily longer. We meet Haytham and inform him that we know Achilles' location. We reach our destination, and this is where the plot becomes absolutely retarded. More retarded than usual. Grab your snacks, drinks and some anti-migraine pills because you're gonna need it. Haytham decides that he and Shay should take on the assassins. Giz wants Haytham to stay. It could be too dangerous for him. Haytham gives him an unnecessary long talk instead of just staring at him and saying only a few words. The dialogue should just be removed here because there's no reason for the player and Shay to believe that Haytham can deal with this. Haytham on his own hunted down assassins in New York, remember?
I will find out where the assassins are hiding. Where is your boss?
As of right now, the Brotherhood is extremely weakened. Even weaker than they were when Hope was still alive. So Gist should not doubt Haytham's skills. Second of all, was Gist not aware of Haytham's skills? He didn't mind Haytham going after Adewale, so why should he care now? Why didn't Gist help us in New York if he was clearly concerned about Haytham? Did he not knew Haytham was there? By the way, I want to point out that this is the last time Yar Yar Gist will be important to the storyline. So far right now, he did zero to nothing and is holding up the plot right now for no good reason. By the way, Gist, the only reason why you're probably staying here is because you cannot use parkour. So watch over our ship cause we don't have Jack Weeks with us. Wait, where's Jack again? I don't know. He's either hunting down assassins somewhere off screen, or he probably realized he was useless and left the story after receiving his salary. Oh, okay, that makes sense. We quickly find out that Achilles has still enough men left walking around here. So Shay and Haytham have to sneak past them or kill them if they have to. They get separated for a moment, that doesn't do much for the plot. It happens so Haytham can throw a guy into a self-defense mechanism of the temple so he could indicate to the player that these energy beam walls are dangerous. But the writers and programmers could have done that in front of Shay. They didn't need to split the characters up. But if they probably didn't, then the player doesn't have to figure out on how to get close to the final room. Once Haytham and Shay near the entrance to the final room, we see Achilles and Liam standing there. The cutscene starts with Achilles and Liam warned already to the Templar presence in the temple. The walls, the protection around the artifact, as I like to call it, go down and it reveals to us the artifact. I've already questioned the existence of these walls in my previous videos, so I don't have to go into depth with it. But what I do want to know is, why does Achilles say...
Oh, don't touch anything. Shay was right.
What do you mean Shay was right? How did you come to that conclusion? What for convoluted shit show is this? I don't even know how to explain this properly. You guys didn't even know a person could create an earthquake.
Shay, a person cannot start an earthquake!
Except if Achilles withheld information from everyone else, but that will make a little sense. But okay, let's just accept the idea that Achilles knows what these artifacts are, okay? If he knew what these artifacts do, then he wastes his resources and manpower to travel overseas for absolutely nothing because he wasn't gonna touch it. True, if Achilles suddenly decides not to mess with the artifact, then all of this will be for nothing. Hope tried to kill Shay to give Achilles and Liam more time. That was her last action as an assassin and as a living being. She tried to give Achilles and Liam more time. But now Achilles decides that they should not touch the artifact and Shay was right. So by that logic, Hope wasted her time to delay Shay because Achilles wasn't gonna take it anymore. You can try to argue that she didn't know, and yes, you're right, she didn't know. She just wasted her time to activate the box and delaying Shay. So does that mean that Adewale died for nothing too?
Achilles already has what he needs.
Shay was right.
We traveled all over the world to prevent the assassins from messing with these precursor temples. But if you're not gonna touch the artifacts, then we wasted our time. Achilles suddenly decides out of nowhere to stop messing with these artifacts. Shay's prime motivation was stopping Achilles and the Brotherhood from messing with these artifacts. But now it seems like he didn't have to do anything because Achilles was just gonna touch the artifacts anyway.
Anything rhymes if you make up the words. Slippity zappity flippity flappity. These raiders clearly were drunk.
Shay was right.
So if they are not gonna touch the artifacts, then what was the point? To kill all the assassins? But that wasn't even hard. We killed off the entire colonial brotherhood so they could not mess with the artifacts. But at the end they decide not to mess with the artifacts. So what was the point of the storyline? Liam should question every decision that Achilles has made so far as a member of the colonial brotherhood. If Achilles knows what these artifacts can do, then Liam should question what happened back in the homestead, right?
Who are you to decide what city falls next?
Why did Liam ask that this was an apple of Eden?
Is this the apple?
During the mission where you infiltrate Achilles' house, you can spot a drawn image of the apple of Eden on the wall. So the colonial brotherhood, or at least Achilles, was aware of how it looked like. But for some reason, Liam questions that this is an apple of Eden because... I don't know. Are there apples of Eden out there that look like this? Did Achilles and Liam think that there were apples of Eden hidden inside these temples? If that is true, that might answer why they didn't believe that Shay could trigger an earthquake. But that still brings the question here, why didn't they tell Shay about this? He was aware of what apples of Eden were, but they didn't tell him about the artifact that was located inside the temple. The only thing that they said was, pieces of Eden are powerful relics.
Pieces of Eden are powerful relics.
So if he thought there were apples of Eden located inside these temples, then why did he never tell Shay that? How long did Achilles knew these artifacts existed? And if he didn't know anything, then what stops him from touching the artifact? Because it looks weird? And why did he came to this conclusion?
What would he know? More than me, apparently.
Finally you understand. Achilles. This is a structure to hold the world together, not a weapon to control it. This whole calamity could have been avoided if you'd only listened to me.
Disrespectful to the end.
Yes, we've been working on that.
I'll be honest here, I laughed out loud when I first saw this scene. It's just a classic Haytham comeback line. But if you think about it, the joke doesn't make sense here. I know jokes can be really subjective. It's hard to pinpoint out exactly when a joke is bad or good. I even talked about this in my previous videos. The comeback line makes no sense here. Shay is the perfect Templar follower. He asks 0 to none questions and blindly follows his orders. Until now in the story, Shay has done nothing that will upset Haytham or the Templars. Yes, he did indeed kill a few Templars before he joined the Templar Order, but that was years ago, and now he's helping the Templars like there's no tomorrow. He was already forgiven for that. Haytham never seemed even to be bothered by it. Shay supported all of Haytham's actions and didn't say anything back towards him. So Haytham has no reason to say this. In AC3, when we enter Washington's camp, father and son were arguing.
Their true cause is human weakness. Why do you think I keep on trying to show you the error of your way?
You have said much, yes, but you have shown me nothing.
Then we'll have to remedy that then, won't we?
This specific joke works because it fits into the narrative of the story. Haytham's trying to convince Conan that he's fighting for the wrong people, that he is on the wrong side. Haytham speaks pretty words but has little to show for it. Not only that, but the story even remembers it.
And what's this?
Private correspondence.
Oh, of course it is. Would you like to know what it says, Conan? It seems your good friend here has just ordered an attack on your village. Then we'll have to remedy that then, won't we?
Even if you don't like the joke, it works in the narrative.
Right or wrong, Shay? You betrayed the Brotherhood, Achilles, and me.
Says the man who shot me in the back.
At the homestead. That was Chevalier.
I don't miss!
Liam don't!
The two fight and Achilles pushes Liam into the direction of the artifact. This makes their entire conversation that happened less than a minute ago entirely pointless.
I'm surrounded by idiots.
This makes Achilles look even more dumber. He doesn't want the artifact to be removed from its place, so he pushes Liam into the direction of the artifact, causing it to move. This scene probably just exists so the writers can force Shay to confront Achilles before the artifact is touched, but probably because they couldn't find a creative way to do so, they had to make Achilles retarded and had to create multiple questions narrative-wise. If Achilles is this incompetent, then how did he become a mentor? Another thing I like to point out here is the manuscript. Why was Liam holding the manuscript in his hand? Was it necessary to get close to the artifact? Does the manuscript say something about the artifacts located inside these temples? Is it because, oh, I know the answer. Why didn't I see it? So the player Shay know that the manuscript is here in the hands of Liam.
Did you have to bring the damn manuscript and box all the way out here, Liam?
The precursor box is safe!
That was lucky.
Ill-educated!
How many times do I have to tell you, Liam? I make my own luck.
Didn't make you do that, you bastard. You broke the assassins. Betrayed everyone you knew. You sided with our worst enemies. And for what?
To save the world.
I don't even have to call out on the stupidity here. He kills his best friend, his childhood friend, over a communication error. Come on! Oh my god! This is so stupid! Why does he grab the manuscript? Who wrote this? Shay makes his way to Haytham and Achilles, who are fighting each other in combat near the Morgan, and for some reason nobody at the Morgan bothers helping the Grandmaster of the Colonial Templar Rite. Not even Giz, who showed clear concern for Haytham only a few minutes ago.
No!
Why not?
That is indeed a good question, Haytham. Why not?
Achilles is harmless now. A mentor with no followers. What kind of world are we making if we cannot show mercy? Besides, he understands what these precursor sites are now. Without him, the assassins may continue their search.
Valid points.
Are you guys insane? This is gonna be hard to put into words because there's so much to talk about what is wrong with this. So Shay says that Haytham shouldn't kill Achilles here because he's harmless now and has no followers left. First off, Achilles can recruit new members into the order whenever he wants to. And yes, I know Achilles is defeated here, but he is not defeated here at the same time. I will explain. For this here, we have to really go into depth with Achilles as a character. As I have already stated before, Achilles was a defeated man in AC3. Achilles himself said that he failed the Brotherhood.
Your words were harsh, Connor, but there was also truth there. I failed the Order, allowed the Templars to take control.
He lost faith. He often butted heads with Connor, but slowly started to believe again. The Achilles we see in Rogue makes no sense for multiple reasons that I've already stated. Achilles is not the same person here as he was in AC3, which does make sense timeline speaking, of course. Rogue is a prequel game about the fall of the Colonial Brotherhood, which shaped Achilles into the man we saw in AC3. So Achilles needs an arc here or something at least to explain us why he went from this
It has been a long time.
to this.
Afraid? You think I'm afraid of anything? Least of all a self-important little scab like you? Saving the world. But stay this course, and the only thing you're gonna be is dead.
And the arc does indeed exist in Rogue, but it also doesn't exist. Keep with me. In AC3, Achilles was affected by the events that happened in Rogue. He blamed himself and felt guilty for his actions. And he also sort of looked down upon himself.
Better to be thought a Spaniard than a native. And both are better still than I.
That is not true.
Look at me. You think I can just march into some store, purse full of pounds, and go shopping?
Yes. Why not?
So naive. I failed the Order.
But in Rogue, he isn't affected by anything. Liam died seconds ago, who I remind you was his very first recruit. And was probably gonna take over the Brotherhood if something happened to Achilles. Or if Achilles just decides to quit being the mentor. His family died, but he doesn't react. If you don't see the problem here, then you don't understand Achilles' character. Achilles was affected by what happened in the past. At the end of the story of Rogue, he was still the exact same man we saw in the beginning of the game. What the writers did here could be argued as one of the biggest continuity errors in a character in the entire franchise. For a story that focused so heavily on the temples and the fall of the Colonial Brotherhood, they couldn't even get the central character right who is gonna appear in AC3. They screwed over everything related with Achilles. He doesn't feel guilt. Liam dies, who cares? Hope dies, who cares? Chevalier dies, who cares? Adewale dies, who cares? You could try to argue that Haytham's gunshot into the leg made him realize that he was a terrible person, and now that he has himself to blame for everything. Fine, okay, sure, I will go with that logic. It took a gunshot into the leg, handicapping Achilles for life, reminding him of his failure every day after that moment, to make him believe that he failed the Brotherhood, that he was a bad mentor, and etc. The character wasn't there was no build up towards it, and when he gets shot in the leg, he's like, oh, I was a terrible person. Why did Achilles need to change character off screen? He does it often, doesn't he? His family dies, let him mourn off screen. He realizes that he is a terrible mentor, let him deal with it off screen. What great character development! This is Achilles' defining moment here as a character in Rogue. This will transform him to the man that we see in AC3, but he hasn't the personality nor the mindset before that happened. For what I'm about to say, I want you to imagine Assassin's Creed 3 never was released, okay? This is not about you liking the game game or not, but I just want you to imagine right now that Assassin's Creed 3 never happened. What do you think Achilles would do after the events in Rogue? Don't think about Assassin's Creed 3. What do you think Achilles will do now? Shay says that he won't dare leave his homestead. Correct, that is what Shay says and believes. But here comes the problem with that. Shay thought that he knew Hope Jensen, but the story tries to portray that he didn't knew her. Shay never expected Achilles to send him on a mission to retrieve an artifact that will cause an earthquake. So how does Shay still think that he knows Achilles good enough after all that has happened? What made Shay come to this conclusion? You could try to say that Shay knows Achilles better than me, of course, but that still brings us back to the question, what makes him think that he can still trust Achilles to stay at the homestead in exile and not cause any problems in the future? Achilles didn't even seem sad in the end, more angry even when Haytham shot him in the leg.
The world will.
So what makes Shay think that he won't go on a revenge quest here and rebuild the Brotherhood from scratch? This has to be one of the most piss poor attempts at continuity I have ever seen in my entire life. I'm being real with you here. Not only is this a poor attempt at continuity, but to make it happen, they had to make Haytham shoot Achilles, which makes little sense here either. Haytham should have killed him. He killed people for far less, I want to remind you.
Maybe you'll find him there.
Enough of that.
You did not have to kill him. You could have held him until the fight was done.
What? And waste precious time and money on their care? What would be the point? They'd given up everything they knew.
So what prevents him exactly from killing the mentor of the Colonial Brotherhood, who in his eyes blindly messes around with precursor artifacts, knows about the Templars' existence, tried to kill him less than 10 seconds ago, is a leader of a Brotherhood that has been trying to wipe the Templars from the face of the earth, made you travel all over the world, burned you almost alive a few minutes ago by fighting with Liam. So what prevents Haytham from killing him? Achilles is a liability. The only excuse here that might be good enough is that the assassins might continue with his search for the temples, remember? Liam said that the box is far away from them now, but Haytham doesn't question that. Is it because Achilles talked to him off screen? Did I miss something? Also, the assassins need the stupid manuscript to make the box work, right? So why be worried that they have the box? This was another thing I forgot to mention earlier when I talked about the box in part 8. So if they need the manuscript, why hasn't Shay and Monroe destroyed it yet? It will only lead to death so far knowledge goes. The assassins in New York took way too long to activate it even when they had their hands on the stolen manuscript to activate the box. So in short, what I'm saying, just destroy the manuscript. It's a book, it's paper, right? Tear it apart, stop it in a chest filled with stones, lock it, throw it in the ocean somewhere with an anchor if you have to. Or are you just gonna keep hold on the manuscript for what reason actually? Are you gonna lock it away somewhere? Can any manuscript work with that box? So not only do we have a questionable excuse for Achilles here, what also is very convenient is that the box is not here, or else Achilles will just be dead. They let Achilles live so that he may tell the assassins to stop searching for these temples. But does that not mean he must leave the homestead to do so? Do the assassins come to him or does he come to them? Does this happen by sending messages through birds? Oh fuck it, just shoot the continuity in the leg please. Beside the issues that I've already stressed, there's one major question I have left. Rogue reveals that Achilles needed a cane later in his life because Haytham shot him in the leg. But that is kind of weird. In AGD, Achilles never talked about Haytham with disgust.
What of my father?
Into the wind, I'm afraid.
We have to find him.
And we will, after the house has been repaired.
But he's out there plotting who knows what.
And what would you do when you found him?
He reacted to all the Templars the same when he showed Connor the portraits, remember?
What they've always wanted. Control. Here they have a chance to illustrate the merits of their beliefs. A people in service to the principles of order and structure.
I have seen what is to come if they succeed. They have to die, don't they? All of them. Even my father.
Especially your father. He's the one holding the whole thing together.
When he said especially his father, I thought that was related with him being the Grand Master, but was he actually just talking about his distaste for Haytham here, because Haytham shot him in the leg? And if that is true, then why did he never mention this in AC3? Even when Connor proposed the idea of Assassins Templars uniting, Achilles doesn't even lose his temper, but he just seems calm and okay.
Why the change of heart? Where is this coming from? You've met your father, haven't you?
I do not claim to trust the man or even like him. But I would be remiss to ignore this opportunity.
Haytham may listen, but will he understand? And even if he does, will he agree?
Even he must admit that we can achieve more together than we do alone.
I assume you're off to find him.
Yes. I ride for New York to see what might be done.
There's no anger, there's no sadness. It's like Haytham never shot him in the leg. There's no hint, there's nothing. Achilles did get pissed when someone touched his stuff, but not at the guy who shot him in the leg.
I will not let you destroy everything we have built!
Haytham may listen, but will he understand?
Did Achilles look so down upon himself in AC3? He was still able to be angry at Connor when they disagreed.
Assassins are meant to be quiet, precise. We do not go announcing conspiracies from the rooftops to all who pass by.
What is our progress on the precursor matter?
We are gathering ships and supplies, but it is difficult without a specific destination.
Assassins are meant to be quiet.
Damn the devil! What happened here?
This is Kasega work, isn't it?
Quiet, precise.
Run away!
He is making equipment to spread gases among the populace. Toxic ones, as it turns out.
Who are you to lecture anyone? You locked yourself away in this crumbling heap and gave up. Since the day I arrived, you've done nothing but discourage me. You may as well have done nothing at all.
She was right.
Your words were harsh, Connor, but there was also truth there.
Finally, you understand.
The closest thing we see Achilles being mad at Haytham or getting all fired up about when it comes to him was during the Boston Massacre. But that made sense because he believed that Haytham wanted to escalate the conflict, which in the end Achilles was right about. When Achilles passed away, Connor missed him as much as he missed his mother. You could even say that Achilles was the father figure Connor never had, even though that was never explored a lot in depth. And most of the time together in the main story was them arguing against each other or giving each other information. The side content did try to touch a bit more upon their relationship, and throughout the story we can still see they care about each other, but unfortunately, like I said, it was never explored a lot in depth. Personally, I wish they did that. Achilles as a father figure sounds great. He even named Connor after his deceased son.
What would you call me then?
Connor. Yes, that will be your name. All right then. Off you go. Don't stare.
Sorry. Thank you.
Clean this up.
But if Connor apparently cared this much about Achilles here, then why did he never bring up the fact that Haytham shot Achilles in the leg? Why did we never see a scene where Achilles mentioned it? Did Achilles not want to explain it? Was it because it wasn't important? I know the reason why. It is because Rogue was never planned. And even if Rogue was planned during the development of AC3, then it is even more questionable. Was there a lack of communication between the writers? It's a really strange, questionable decision, and it hardly adds anything new to the storyline of Assassin's Creed. Another thing I like to point out, and this could be argued as a plot hole in Assassin's Creed 3, the Templars seem to be pretty aware of Achilles' existence.
I thought we'd finished off your kind. But what would you know, beyond all the lies Achilles feeds you and the tales you tell yourself?
If they knew of Achilles, then why did they never bother visiting him? But back then, we didn't know a lot what happened to the Colonial Brotherhood before Connor arrived. But now apparently they just knew the whole time where he was.
Achilles has lost everything. He won't dare leave his homestead.
He won't.
Apparently, the Templars sent Achilles into exile, knew where he left for decades, and just let him rot there? You're making this a pretty important plot point and a turn of events, you know. Maybe we shouldn't have even made in the game on the colonial purge to begin with anyway. We walk away from Achilles, and how does Achilles return to his home exactly? I killed all those followers along the way before meeting him in the temple. And even if you don't kill them, Shay still says that he has no followers left. So does that include all of Achilles' crew? He still needs the ship to go home, right? How else do you think he got back to the homestead? Swimming? If we did indeed kill his crew, then why should we not kill Achilles right here, right now? Do we want to freeze him to death? Haytham, I'm mistaken. Kill Achilles.
The Royal Palace at Versailles, Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette in residence.
Such decadence.
Haven't I seen this place before? Like I...
Should I kill the entire Senate as well? Wait, who am I not killing besides...
All the rumors are true! I am Satan! It is your destiny. 大丈夫ですか? 勝った。計画通